last time we spoke was about the first Khalifa, Abu Bakr. Now we're going to deal with the second Khalifa, Omar. Okay? So, Omar initially resisted Islam. When he first heard about Islam from the Prophet Muhammad, he was kind of iffy about it. He wasn't really sure he wanted to follow it. He wasn't really really interested in it. Okay? But he later became a close friend of Muhammad, and that's when he officially followed Islam. Some of the challenges that Omar faced: organizing and expanding the empire. Okay, so what Omar wanted to do was really establish a community, establish a society, an Islamic society. So he used tax money to pay for the police, he paid for army, he paid for education, Prophet's family. When Muhammad passed away, his family, he took care of them. Orphans who didn't have families, moms and dads, and last but not least, poor people. Okay, so Omar really came in and just kind of created a society for the Muslim people. Okay. Every society needs order, they need structure. So he came up with the police, the army, and education. All of these are important things that people need. Some of the successes he had: he continued the expansion of the empire. Okay, so some of the expansions that Omar created was Arabia, which is now Saudi Arabia. You have Iraq, Western Persia, Syria, Palestine, Northern Egypt, and part of North Africa. So these are the places where Omar went out and spread Islam to the people who wanted Islam. Not forcing it on them, okay? But like I said earlier, the army was just a way to protect them if those countries decided to attack them, okay?
Steve, we'll hold our questions to you.
Now we have the third Khalifa, we have Uthman, okay? So Uthman was a wealthy merchant and a Muhammad's son-in-law, okay? He was a businessman. He had a bunch of stores, a bunch of businesses, and he was a wealthy person. But he was also a great believer in Allah and Muhammad and the Islam religion. Some of the challenges. The main challenge that Uthman faced was that there was a big gap between rich and poor. So at his time, there was a lot of rich people and just poor people. There wasn't any middle class, okay? So the rich people always just took care of themselves. They didn't really care about anybody else. Poor people struggled. They needed some help. And so what Uthman did, he kind of bridged the gap between them. He made it a middle class. He created jobs for people, if you will. And so that was a big change that Uthman created. Some of the success he had, he organized writing of the Quran. So we spoke earlier about the Quran and how God revealed it to Muhammad, but in the beginning the Quran was kind of all over the place. It was written on different documents. It wasn't really organized. So what Uthman did, he took all the pieces of the Quran and created it into one organized book. And you guys, this book, the Quran, that we have today, if you find the Quran today, the way it's set up, the way it's written, is exactly how it was written and set up back then. There was no alterations, there was no changes to it whatsoever. And he continued the expansion of the empire as well. He spread Islam to more countries. When he went to Egypt, there was a group of Egyptians who weren't really happy with the way Uthman was running things, and so they did decide to assassinate him, and that was the end of the Uthman era. And last but not least, we have Ali. He was the final and fourth Khalifa. All right. So what happened with Ali, when Ali first started becoming a Khalifa, there was a person called Muawiyah. So who was this person, Muawiyah? He was the cousin of Uthman, the third Khalifa. They were cousins. And so what happened is there was a dilemma between them. Muawiyah, he wanted to be the Khalifa, but also Ali wanted to be the Khalifa. So they had a little problem with that. And so negotiators decided that both men should resign. So the people of the community decided that, you know what, Muawiyah, you shouldn't be Khalifa, and Ali, you shouldn't be Khalifa, since you guys are feuding. And so they both continued ruling as Khalifa anyways. They believed that they were all qualified to be Khalifas, so they all decided to rule. However, Muawiyah, he ruled over Syria and Egypt, and Ali ruled over Persia. So they were technically Khalifas, but two different parts of the world, okay? If you look at this map over here, this kind of clarifies it. So if you see Muawiyah, he was the Khalifa pretty much this area right here. You have Cairo, Alexandria, Jerusalem. But Ali, he ruled Baghdad, Persia, and this part of the area, okay? So the civil war between Muslims, okay? Like I said, because of that feud, Muslims started, having problems with each other, okay? Some people followed Muawiyah, some people followed Ali. So they started having problems between their own people. And so some rebels tried to kill both guys, okay? So some rebels, they didn't want either. They didn't want Muawiyah to be a Khalifa or Ali to be a Khalifa. So some people who are rebels, they just want to come in and do things their own way. And so they decided they wanted to kill them. However, Muawiyah was able to get away. Unfortunately, Ali was assassinated. And because of this feud that Muawiyah and Ali had, it was a pivotal point in Muslim history. This kind of changed the history of Islam, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so because of the disagreements over Khalifa between Muawiyah and Ali, the disagreement, it created a split between Muslims. So what is that main split? So there was a split. There was Muslims who called themselves Sunni, okay, and there were Muslims who called themselves Shia, okay. Although they're both Muslims, but they had a little bit of different beliefs, and I'll tell you what those beliefs are now. Okay, so the Sunni and the Shia. Now they're both Muslims, but the Sunni, this is what they believed in, okay. They believe that any religious Muslim can be a leader, okay. So as long as you're a Muslim and you're qualified, you can be a Muslim of the Nation of Islam. However, the Shia, they believe that only the relatives of Muhammad can be leaders or imams. So if you are related to Muhammad, if you were from his family tree, you are able to be a leader. And that's what the Shia believed in. The second thing the Sunnah believed in was supported rule of the first four khalifas. So like we talked, the first four khalifas, they had their beliefs, they had their way of doing things. And the Sunni, they follow those ways and those beliefs. However, the Shia, they only supported the rule of Ali. So the fourth Khalifa, the last one, whatever he came up with, whatever his beliefs were, they followed only him. And last but not least, the Sunni, 80% of the world Muslim population are Sunni. So the majority of Muslims in the world, they follow the Sunnah belief. However, mostly in Iran, the country of Iran, they're mostly Shia. They follow the belief of Ali. Okay?
Aziz, do we still have these conflicts today between the Sunni and the Shia?
Unfortunately, yes. Till this today, the Sunnah and the Shia, they still feud with each other because they still believe that their way is the right way. Okay? But although they do have this belief, they work peacefully with each other. They don't try to, go about it in a violent way. They're very peaceful about it, but these views are still existing till today, yes.
Alright guys, so on your notes, this is the title, The 5 Pillars of Islam. Tomorrow and Friday, you're going to be creating a brochure that talks about the 5 Pillars of Islam. You're going to tell me what you've learned about the 5 Pillars of Islam from Aziz, from the textbook, and a few other items that I will be giving you tomorrow and Friday. So make sure that you guys are taking notes. We're going to go over what everything means in the 5 Pillars of Islam. Steve?
What's called A? For A, we put the 5 Pillars of Islam?
No, that's the title, 5 Pillars of Islam. I will tell you what letter A will be. Aziz, go ahead.
Alright guys, so the 5 pillars of Islam. Okay, so these are the pillars, these are the rules that we follow if you want to be a good Muslim. Okay? So let's start with the first one. Okay, so what are the 5 pillars first? Muslim people who follow Islam have 5 duties, which are called the 5 pillars of Islam. Every Muslim tries to carry out these 5 things, and it helps them to feel that they are members of the worldwide Muslim community. So if you want to be a good Muslim, you have to follow these 5 pillars. That's the rule. The first pillar is called Shahada.
So that's letter A, guys.
That's A.
Can you say it for me again?
Shahada.
Shahada. That's letter A. Go ahead and spell it out. According to our document, that is confession of belief.
Correct.
Write that down. Under your first tab, under letter A, confession of belief. Confession of belief.
Oh, I don't push on.
Letter A is Shahada. The first tab under letter A will be confession of belief. You guys are learning now the actual terms for them, what they're actually called, as opposed to what we read in our document-based question. All right, please go ahead.
All right, guys. So the first pillar is Shahada. So what Shahada means is that this pillar is believing and saying the words, "There is no God except Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah." So for you to be a Muslim, the first thing you have to say and believe in is these words: "There is no God except Allah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah." You have to believe this with your heart to be a true Muslim.
Can you give us an example of what that sounds like, Aziz?
Okay. I'm going to say it in Arabic. Ashhadu anna la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. That's how you say it in Arabic.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's move on.
I understood.
Yeah, right? You know Arabic.
Who's still barely knows English?
Barely.
Barely. Alright, guys, let's focus.
Alright, so we have the second pillar. It's called Salat.
Letter B, Salah.
Salat. Not salsa, Salat.
This is prayer 5 times a day, guys. Prayer 5 times a day. Letter B is prayer 5 times a day. We learned about this in our document-based question. Prayer 5 times a day. So the first tab under letter B is prayer 5 times a day. All right, Aziz, go ahead.
All right, so the salah is the second pillar we have, and what it is basically is the praying that we do. Earlier, you guys said that some of you guys have seen Muslims pray before. It's when you stand like this, you kneel, stand back up, those particular movements. So that's what the salah is. And when we do that, we have to do it towards the Kaaba or towards Mecca. You guys heard of Mecca before?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to do it towards Mecca. So wherever you are in the world, whenever you're praying, it has to be towards Mecca. That's the way to do it. The reason for that is because that's where the Kaaba is. That's where Allah's house is. And so we all pray towards that house in praising to Allah. Okay? The third pillar is zakat. Let's see. Zakat.
This is giving alms to the poor. Alms to the poor. So, letter C. Alms to the poor. Alms. A-L-M-S. Alms to the poor. Go ahead, Aziz.
Alright, so each year Muslims are supposed to give some of their savings for charity, such as helping the poor. In this way, they believe that their wealth is made pure. Okay? So God has blessed us. Allah has blessed people. They gave them money, they gave them health. Okay? But it's not pure wealth unless you give back to people who are unfortunate. Okay? So to us, if God is giving you wealth and He's giving you money and He's giving you food and nice things, then you have to give back to the people who weren't blessed enough to get those things. Okay? So that's what something we truly believe in. Our third pillar, which is giving back to the poor. If you want to be a good Muslim, you have to take some of your own money and give it back to the poor so they can have good lives as well.
Alright, this is letter D. This is letter D.
And this one's called Sawam.
And we know this from our textbook known as Ramadan. Ramadan.
Yeah, this is what the month of Ramadan, that's what we do. Ramadan. I'll explain to you what it is right.
Alright, go ahead.
Alright, so once a year for one whole month, the month is called Ramadan. That's the month where all Muslims have to fast. Okay, so fasting, it starts from the moment the sun comes out in the sky until the sun comes down. Between those times, you cannot eat anything. You cannot drink anything. You are completely fasting since the sun comes out until the sun comes down. Okay? And just imagine that, you guys. Imagine fasting for about 12 hours. Nothing. I'm talking about no water, no food, nothing. I don't care. No matter how thirsty you are, you cannot drink. This is what we do for a whole month, for 30 days. In a row. Okay? Now, why we do this is very important because there's a lot of poor people in the world. A lot of poor people don't have food. They don't have water. Okay? So once a month, to be a good Muslim, we have to remind ourselves of what the world is actually like, what those people are going through. Okay? Now, if anybody has ever tried to fast from sun up to sundown, it's very hard. Even Mr. Perez couldn't do it. he tried for 2 hours and he almost lost his mind. So it is very difficult to do, but however, it is very important because it keeps us down to earth. It reminds us that, you know what, I have food and water every day, but you know what, for 12 hours I'm not going to eat and drink, so that's why I can remember how poor people live. So it keeps me humble. Okay? And it's only 1 month during the year, so it's not too bad.
Alright, last one.
Last one is Hajj. Okay? That's number E.
That's letter E. That should be letter E. And this is the pilgrimage that we spoke about. Talk to us about the pilgrimages.
Alright, so Al-Hajj. Okay, so once in your lifetime, every Muslim is required to go to Mecca. Okay? That's located in Arabia. And this is where you go, so this is the picture of Mecca. And I have a better picture actually right here. See that? This is an actual picture of Muslims praying at the Kaaba. Okay? And we do this only once in your lifetime because it is very difficult to do. It is time consuming. It takes a few days to do. Okay? But as the fifth pillar, to be a good Muslim, you have to do Hajj. Now, if you are incapable of doing Hajj, for instance, if you're sick or you don't have enough money to do it, then God will forgive you for that. But if you are capable, you have health, you have enough money to go do it, then all Muslims need to go to Kaaba to do it. And this is something that actually I'm planning on doing next year. So it's very something I'm looking forward to, okay? And that's the 5 pillars, guys.
Alright guys, so this is going to be your project. When we start tomorrow and Friday, I want you guys to use the proper terms for what we learned inside the book. Now's the time for Q&A. Remember guys, your questions, keep them appropriate, academic. I'll be handing out sword tickets for those that are asking some good questions and making connections.